Verona Borough Council, Tuesday, August 13th, 2019. Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Kenna.
President Jabicki Bell.
Here.
Mr. Conti is stuck at work. He will not make it tonight. Dr. Carpenter.
Present.
Ms. Lualbo.
Here.
Mr. McCarthy.
Present.
Ms. Provenza.
Here.
Mr. Suchovich.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Here.
Mr. Pitch.
Here.
Mayor Recupero.
Here.
I am also here.
Council will now hear registered comments from the public. Trish?
Good evening, everyone.
Is that on, Trish?
Yeah.
Can you flip the switch on the front of it? Is it up? There you go.
Hello?
Yeah.
Check, check. All right.
There it is.
Let's try again. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Trish Redzak Showalter, 440 North. I have 3 items I wanted to address with you tonight. I'll go in the order that will take the least amount of time. The first is we'd like to formally request permission to hold the North Avenue Block Party again this year. It will be Saturday, September 7th. From around 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. So if we could have the roadblocks brought up as we have in the past, we would greatly appreciate it.
Is that from from First to High Street, like always?
Correct, sir. There's no other questions. I'll move on to the second item. We are really excited. There seems to be a lot of interest in a plastic bag recycling program. It's actually through the same company that Giant Eagle ends up sending theirs to, but we're just interested in setting up more collection points, one of them being here at the borough. I have some flyers with additional information. Just pass these around. So we'd like to set one up here at the Borough Building. A couple of us in the community are also setting them up at our places of work. If anyone on council or in the general public would like to do that as well, we'd love to have your participation. Rhea is here with me tonight. She has a little bit more information about the company and how it works. But if we are able to collect a certain amount in a certain period of time, we can actually turn it into furniture like benches that we could then put in our parks or other spaces. It is cool. So if anyone has questions about that, we can take those now.
Could you tell us where in the Borough Building you want to put them?
Yeah, I would ideally like to have it where you can pay for tickets, like in the entryway. That way people could come at any time. But it's up to you guys if you think that's an acceptable spot or not.
How big would it be?
This thing?
Yes, it is in the picture.
Trash can looking?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a good place.
Oh, this thing.
Because the door's open on that side.
Yep.
I don't think anybody's going to steal it.
Let's hope not.
Will there be somebody regularly coming and emptying it?
Correct,
Okay.
yeah. At least monthly, more if it warrants it. We have to weigh and then transport it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that includes, you have cereal liners, but that also includes liners of
Yes.
crackers and
Absolutely.
things like that, right?
Yes.
Anything that you have to open the box and then try to figure out how to open that.
Exactly. I was unaware that you could do cereal bags as well, but you can.
Okay.
And also things like bubble wrap or like the Amazon plastic bags, which I had not always been recycling, and is why at my work it makes makes sense to do it there as well.
Oh my God, even our toilet paper coverings. That's great.
Yes.
Is there a cost, is there a cost to the borough for this?
No.
And it all counts toward that, the grant, the 901?
904?
904?
I'm not sure about that.
We'd have to ask Mike. I don't know.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think it does.
Yeah, I think.
As long as you have the weights and you can present the information.
Oh, I have another question.
Yes, Dr. Carpenter?
Do you have a plan somehow to let everybody in the borough know about this? You know, because there's so many people who aren't on Facebook or social media, and I'm sure they buy bread and get newspapers and buy toilet paper. It'd be wonderful to have their stuff too.
Absolutely. I think this is the ongoing question, how can we truly reach everyone in the borough? Of course, we're going to do an article in the newsletter and spread it through social media, but if there are other suggestions, we definitely welcome them.
we could use the time maybe on the billboard
Yeah, that would be something we could put on the billboard.
And
that we have,
maybe- yeah.
to announce it on there.
Make a Verona-specific flyer and have them at any events, like it's probably too soon for wrestling, but maybe not. But definitely Community Day, maybe have a table there, and anybody can put their plastic in here, right?
Absolutely.
You don't have to be from Verona.
No,
Right.
no.
Is the school getting involved at all?
We have not reached out to them at this point just because of clearances and security. We weren't sure if they would be willing to consider that. I don't know what your perspective is as someone who's worked with the school.
They have a vestibule there, just like we do, so maybe it could be put in there.
I think a point was raised, like, do you have to buzz in order to reach that
You
area?
probably do.
Okay.
The secretary sits right there at the desk.
Okay.
Okay, and she can see who it is, and you could just motion that you want to pick up.
Okay.
There's actually 2 doors that you have to go through, so you can get through the first door without getting into the second door.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think that would be great because they go through water, that's how they get their water.
Okay.
And then the little cereal containers and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, how big is this container? It doesn't look very big.
Right. I don't know the dimensions offhand, but I think it's like a taller trash can.
I was just wondering if we could get 2 of them in here.
I believe it's like a foot and a half by 3 feet or so, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Could we have 2?
Yeah.
I think we can have a max of 10.
Oh, wow.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll be different, yeah.
Because I'm just thinking what I have at home right now to take to Walmart isn't going to Walmart. I'm going to hold on to it, but it could probably fill that.
Great. Okay.
And there'll be a phone number there that Marcia can call every time it needs emptied, if it needs emptied before a month is up, right?
Sure. Yeah, I can put
She
my
can
number.
just call them and
Yeah.
just come get it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions, or did I miss anything?
No, I think just a detail is that it's 500 pounds and we would have 6 months. It's a time frame of 6 months and that we have to reach that goal of 500 pounds. If we do not reach that goal, then we do not earn the bench, but everybody seems quite positive that we can actually reach that goal.
500 pounds of plastic bags. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
That's a lot of
That's a
plastic
lot.
bags.
It's an ambitious goal. Dave actually broke down the math on it. I forget exactly what it was offhand.
I don't remember either, but.
But by involving some of the workplaces, so again, if anyone has a work or other residence where you would like to set up a collection, I think we can expedite
So
that.
you're putting them throughout the borough. Is it 500 pounds for the entire borough with all the collection points or just our collection point?
No, it's whoever's working with our community. So for example, if someone put one at CMU, then those would, collected at that site would count toward our 500.
Landmark Business Solutions.
My vestibule's gated off after dark. There'd be no way to get in. Wouldn't work.
Well, you can always let us know, and we're happy to provide containers. Any other questions?
I have a question on the block party. If we, I'm gonna get with Dominic, but if we, is it all right if we just have the street department drop I believe we
Yes.
did that before.
Yes.
And somebody can put them up and take them down, the barricades?
You got it. Yeah, that's what we were thinking.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right.
Yeah, just leave me one.
So do we need to make a motion about that or no?
Okay, could I have a motion to allow for the recycle bin to be placed in the vestibule of the Borough Building for plastic bag pickup?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
All right, thank you, council. Our third and final item is just an update on I'm calling it the revitalization of the Community Block Watch program. So just an update from the citizen end. We were able to meet with our chief as well as Sergeant Jerry, and we were able to set up a training with the Allegheny County Sheriff's Office, and so that's going to be held here Monday, September 23rd from 7 to 9 p.m. We will be recording the training for anyone who cannot attend, as well well as attempting to live stream it through Facebook. So we hope that many of you will be able to come or at least watch the recording later. So also, we just wanted to see, I don't know if you want to report now or throughout the meeting where we were with the other items. I know we were going to look into cameras and possibly lights. And finally, I would like to ask everyone on council if they would consider being their block captain for your individual block that you live on for the new program. No pressure.
If it starts at 7 and you can't be there for 7 because you have another commitment, but you might be able to get there for 7:30 or 8, I mean, is that a problem or?
No, I think that's totally fine. He seemed very laid back about the program.
Okay.
So, and since we're recording it, you could always catch up as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want us to answer that now?
Yes.
Oh. Well, sure, I'll consider it, but I can't be there for the training.
That's fine.
But I'll
Yeah.
watch the video.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Great.
Look into it, see what the schedule is, because I got Obie on my street.
Oh,
Got no boundaries.
okay. You'll have a couple captains.
Yeah.
I have another commitment, but I'm probably going to be there.
Fabulous. Thank you, Sandy.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Just an
I'd like
update.
to, but I'm never home. That's my block. That's my issue.
Okay, great.
But I'll think about it.
How big of a block, and this is probably in the training, but how much space are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't have a full handle on it. I would say just whatever you feel you can comfortably walk and kind of keep an eye on. And it's more of being a liaison too. It's not like you are personally doing all of the watching, but you're just talking to your neighbors about anything that's going on, letting them know if there's events coming up and that kind of thing. So more like being a point person, however many people you can keep in contact with.
Okay.
Is there a test on this training?
Not that I'm aware of.
Testing it
An update on the lights. I don't have any update on the cameras yet. They're
Okay.
still in process. As far as the lights go, we put a down payment for the electrician to start on the lights in this parking lot.
Fabulous.
So they're in process. They should be installed anytime.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
And as far as streetlights, we'll be submitting to Decaying Light September 1st for 100 new streetlights.
Awesome.
The only requirement is that they have to be in groups of 10 continuous or more.
Okay.
So we haven't quite figured out which all streets are going to be converted at this time, but we will be getting 100 lights throughout town.
Okay, great.
No.
Okay.
All right, great. Thank you, council.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Trish.
Okay, thanks, Trish.
Okay. Council will now hear comments from the public on agenda items. At this time, please approach the podium, clearly state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Okay. Mr. Kenna.
The meeting minutes for the last 2 meetings were distributed to everybody via email from Marcia. We need motions to approve the meeting minutes for
July.
the workshop in July, as well as the public council.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter for passing the minutes of July 9th and July 30th. Is there a second? Second by Mrs. Loalbo. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
The next thing on the list is the bills payable. At the end of your financial report, there is a list of all the checks. I would need a motion to pay the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills by Mr. McCarthy.
Second.
Second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? Although,
I do have one quick
Okay.
question. Jerry,
Yes.
on these checks, I guess this is the easiest way to see what we're spending, like on a daily basis or weekly basis.
It's for the whole month. For all the
Right.
checks that were written for the whole month.
So I'm just curious, like where, for instance, Tom Gravel shows up here.
He doesn't. That's payroll. That's not on this. This is payables.
Oh.
So this is not, your payroll is not broken down in this.
Okay. Is Carrie Del Rosso on payroll too?
No. Carrie is in there. She may not have gotten a check in July though.
Okay.
She usually gets it paid like every 6 weeks or so.
She's on here.
Pardon me?
She's on here.
What page?
July 10th,
What page?
top of the,
July 10th, yeah, the third,
second page, backside.
Page 4?
page 4 of that report.
Yeah.
Top one.
Oh, okay.
Got it, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, motion on the floor made by Mr. McCarthy to pay the bill, second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
So, tax collector special taxes report. The real estate taxes collected for the current year in July were $42,141.84. Delinquent real estate taxes were $15,696.08. Real estate transfer taxes, $2,022.23. Earned income taxes for the current year, $11,546.50. Local service taxes for the current year, $5,723.23.
Can I have a motion to accept the tax collector report?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Suchovich. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. McCarthy. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
For the treasurer's report, it's a separate report that I handed out. I didn't forget to attach it to the email, so Marcia didn't print it. I brought that one. For the month, general fund balance for July 1st, 2019 started the month $672,073.29. We received deposits of $92,995.33, expenditures of $174,322.19, for an ending balance in the general fund of $590,746.43.
Can I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make the motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Motion by Mr. McCarthy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Loalbo. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yep.
The sanitary sewer account,
Yeah.
so is this the money that we get from
Oakmont Water.
Oakmont Water?
Correct.
So of that 52,000, some of that gets taken away or something?
Yeah, so we pay that quarterly. Last month, there was a bill in there for, I can tell you, hold on. Last month, we paid $139,597.32 to Alcoasam. That comes out quarterly. So that bill will be coming out probably not until, there's nothing this month, there won't be anything in September, it'll be October. We'll get another bill somewhere between $140,000 to $155,000, depending on consumption.
So we get approximately, say, around 50,000 a month from
Correct.
Oakmont Water, and that's what the money we use to pay
Correct.
the other bill. So we don't really have $244,000 in the
No,
account.
that's money that's accumulated.
Yes, but we're gonna pay 140 approximately of
Correct.
that for a bill, so that's 100 that we have left.
Correct.
I guess what I'm asking is, or why I'm asking this is, can we use any of that money for the street repair?
That's gonna be up to council. That is for sanitary sewer.
And this is
repairs.
all storm sewer?
Storm sewer. So council can decide to move that money, but the idea of that fee that we attach to the sewage bills is that it's to go to sanitary sewers. So council would have to decide that, where that money's gonna come from.
Or, yeah, or not
But-
necessarily use all of it, but maybe use some of it if we need it, or maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to think outside the box for how we're gonna cover this other thing. That will come up later.
Yep.
So that's why I was asking, thank you.
Okay, motion made by Mr. McCarthy, second by Mrs. Loalbo. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Police chief's report?
Okay, complaints received, 121, total crimes reported 30, total crimes cleared 28, total persons arrested 18, crime code summaries issued 14, vehicle code summaries issued 5, Borough Code Summaries issued 20, Borough Parking tickets 154. We had no ordinance violations listed as of now. Magistrates fines $715.40. Borough fines and fees collected $800. Police reports 45. Amusement devices, nothing. We collect those at the beginning of the year. Municipal fines, $628.33. Total fines and fees collected, $2,188.73. Parking permit fees, $325. And that's for July.
Can I have a motion to accept the police chief's report?
I'll make the motion to accept the police chief's report.
Motion by Mr. McCarthy, is there a second? Second by Mr. Suchovich, are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Fire chief's report.
There was 28 fire calls in the month of July.
Wow.
Why there's so many more?
What's that?
Do you know why there's so many more than usual?
Floodings. Fires, I mean, we've had numerous fires. We were up in the Penn Hills one from
Oh, right.
all night.
Are those guys that were hurt okay? Are they home?
6 of the 7, they're all home. 6 of the 7 came home that night. The 7th, he has some burns on his wrists, and his hands, and his neck. He's going to Mercy 2 or 3 times a week, I believe, to get everything changed and everything. He might have a little scarring, but he's living and he's gonna be okay.
Thank you, Ray. Can I have a motion to accept the fire chief's report?
I'll make a motion to accept the fire chief's report.
Motion by Mr. McCarthy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Loalbo. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. And EMS report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For the month of July, we had a total of 37 911 calls in Verona Borough, 12 of which were ALS, 10 BLS, 9 patient refusals, and 6 cancellations. Year-to-date for Verona Borough, we had 237 just per borough alone, and for the entire coverage area, we're up to over 3,200.
Thank you, Jamie. Can I have a motion to accept the EMS report?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
That's all I have at this time.
Okay. Mayor?
Couple things, I was gonna bring up the block watches going forward, but you already brought that up, thank you. Plum Creek, we're supposed to have a meeting tomorrow, but it's been canceled. We're probably gonna have it at the end of the month. We're gonna be talking about Plum Creek, from Monroeville down to Verona, Oakmont. Then we're gonna try to get the DEP to come and talk to us to see what could be done. There's a lot of trees, and what they need is basically retention ponds along there, but I'm no engineer. We've talked about that. The one thing that makes me mad about the DEP is there's a lot of cars that were in the creek, and one of them was a Corvette that they just found. I forgot to bring the picture in. And they, from what I was told, they got to get it out of there naturally. And it's going to cost, they got one estimate of $15,000 to get it out of there.
That's the custodian.
Yeah, L was it?
Yeah.
No.
Turf.
And, it's a shame that, and I get it, and I understand you got to get it out because it's got all the fluids in there, a full tank of gas also, but it's really not, they're really not concerned about the human loss. They're worried about getting that car out because we don't want to contaminate the water, and I understand, we drink it. And that's one of the reasons why we're having this meeting, to see if, what they could do. I know back in the 90s, none of you were on here, both Verona and Oakmont, we cleared jointly a lot of trees from Plum Creek, from the bridge up there in Oakmont down to the by the junkyard up there at that time.
Big trees got caught on that old bridge, that walkway.
Yeah, and took it out. Both boroughs paid ourselves to clear because they were all leaning over and falling in and what have you. And that's something we may have to consider again in the future because I don't think the DEP is going to really dredge it or anything like that. But I'll bring you more information on that as time goes on. And we had an incident down at one of our docks. A gentleman was constantly getting drunk and he fell in and almost drowned, and I talked to Craig, and we had sent him a letter just for the record stating that he was no longer permitted on the public docks for safety reasons. And also, Craig had drafted up a letter to Oakmont Water and the gas company on getting the repairs done in a decent amount of time. Down by my shop, they put a new fire hydrant in. That was probably a year ago, and I believe last month in March, they finished what they had to do temporarily, but they came back, they did the street, but there's still a hole at the fire hydrant that needs to be filled in with dirt and seeded, and that still hasn't been done, so I don't know what that letter means to them. And also, I was informed up on the main drag of the fire hydrant, they had a break there in front of Bosco's there, and they dug the sidewalk out. Then they finally came back and re-cemented it, and it's a terrible job. They actually still got the wood up against the curb when they poured it was sort of like a footer there, and they haven't even removed that yet. They need to be accountable. Each and every one of us here and in the audience are accountable when we dig up our streets. We have to put them back. Oakmont Water and the gas company ain't no different than anybody else. So, the letter, I'm sure, was sent, and we need to move forward with Marka and start citing them, or else we'll do it ourselves and send them the bill. So that's up to the board, and that's all I have at this time.
Thank you. Okay, just a few things. The community dinner update, I gave you a handout with that. Big thing here is the 26th. Shirley Davis is going to meet, I'm going to meet her down here at 4 o'clock at the Borough Building. If you could have your food here at the kitchen by that time. If you can't make it by that time, but you can make it the day before, please make sure you have your food labeled for the community dinner and put it in the refrigerator if that's where it needs to be. She and I will transfer the food to the church then, around 4:30, whatever time we can box up everything and get it up there. And then on the 28th, when we have the community-sponsored dinner, I'm going to pick up the dessert at 3 o'clock. Barb Molesky's baking the cake. It's going to be decorated in purple and gold flowers and sectioned off in pieces, so whoever gets to cut the cake can have a little squared off section. They don't have to guess how big the pieces are. 3:30, if you could be there so that we can set up for the dinner. Be sure to park your vehicle on Brunot Street or lower. That looks like Tower, but it's the bottom of my B. Lower Center Avenue. Usually around 4 o'clock, the guests begin to arrive. 4:30 to 6:30, the dinner's served. Takeouts are delivered at 6:15 to the shut-ins, or sometimes individuals from Demore Towers can't make it up to the church, so we can run it down to them down at Demore. 6:30 to 7 is the cleanup. So, I don't know, any questions about that?
What day of the week is that?
It's the Wednesday. It's a Wednesday.
Last Wednesday of the month.
I'll try to come to that.
And we might put you to work.
I'll be happy to go.
Okay. The other thing here, I'm going to let Craig talk about the cameras. We had an exec session beforehand about this. Some of the miscellaneous things I have. Rosedale Fall Festival asked me, the steering committee there asked if they could put a banner on Cribbs Field. It's approximately as big as ours was when we put it up there for the Fall Festival. I was wondering if it's okay with everybody that we do this, and if it is okay, can we issue a work order? Right now, it's at the printers. It's probably still going to be at the printer for 5 days. So when we get it, I mean, if they could put it up, so because the Fall Festival's, the Rosedale Fall Festival at the Beach Club's going to be from the September 12th to the 14th. Is that a problem with anybody?
What printer? Print and copy?
I don't know where it's coming from.
Are they going to get it and bring it to us and then we put it
The
up?
Beach Club might be getting it and dropping it off to me, and I might be bringing it down.
Let me know.
But if we can have the work order ready to go, so the guys can get it up there. I did go to the summer lunch program that we contributed to from June through August. I went on August the 1st. There was approximately 40 campers there. Riverside Church in Oakmont had a picnic with them. They had hamburgers and hot dogs and watermelon, and their youth group, which is called Nexus, had a lot of organized activities. It was really well done, very well represented. On August 8th, I met with a representative from the Allegheny County Library Association. David, I think she talked with you as well.
Talked, yes.
And I think she also talked with Jessica. It's about civic literacy. There's 14 libraries involved. Basically, what they're doing is they're funded through the Department of Education, and they're rethinking their rules and redefining space in the community for libraries. I think they want to send out a survey, and it might be coming through the community group. I'm not sure what their conversation was, but the questions are up here if anybody's interested in seeing what they are. I received this course. It's a course on pedestrians and crosswalks, and it's free. You can get a minimum of 10 people, and they recommend municipal managers, elected officials, public works directors, road crew members, code enforcement officers. And what they do is activities that encourage participations to improve pedestrian safety, support walking activities in communities, determine when and how to mark crosswalks, improve the visibility of pedestrian facilities, and make physical road improvements for pedestrian safety. And I thought, well, with us talking about the one out there,
They'll come here?
and then they will come here, yeah, and it's free. So the information's on the back there. You can call them, you can email them. I was not able to attend the COG meeting in July. I had a funeral that I needed to attend to, and I think I emailed everybody for participation, and I thank Janet especially for being the one to attend. They also talked about joint paving reservation calendar. Matt, do you want to talk about that at all, or Jerry?
Okay. About the equipment?
Yeah, about the equipment and registering it. Okay, and I think that is everything. Mr. Pitch?
I touched on the Duquesne Lake LED conversion that we'll have going on. I did talk with Duquesne Lake. They pointed out a good item that I didn't think about. With the LED lights, they're a lot brighter. And they have a chart of what your current light converts to LED, but they did recommend that in residential areas to go with a lower wattage because they've had complaints of brightness. So depending on how close the lights are together and how spaced the poles are, I'll take that into account when speccing the wattage of the lights.
Yeah, I believe on that there was 3 different watts you can get, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it's based off of what your existing light is. If it's a 85 watt, that's equivalent to the 45 LED. You can change it, like if you feel that the lights are spaced too far currently, you can bump it up or down to whatever you need.
Well, I'm sure they'll help you with that, right?
Yeah, I talked to him about that already. So he told me what to look for and how to judge what to use.
Yeah, was you talking to Philip Long? Is that, or the client?
Yeah, Mr. Long,
Yeah.
yep. The signal at Wildwood, I didn't get that updated on my report here, but as everyone knows, it's on. It's concluding its 30-day test period. Once that's done, PennDOT will review and give the final approval of the light. We did have one small hiccup with it. I think it was the second or third day after it was turned on. It turned all directions green. The chief got a hold of me. We got it taken care of rather quickly. PennDOT did come out the next day and reviewed it, so nothing like that's happened since. So I think we're pretty good there.
A lot of people have commented at how much they appreciate that light there.
Yeah, and I know we had apprehensions of the left turning on the Wildwood. I don't think it's really been much of an issue. People are getting over, and if they have to wait, people are getting past them, or the amount of traffic, it's flowing.
It's kind of funny because, after 40-some years of driving and making the left up there, it's embedded in your mind. Yeah. And twice it's happened to me. It's like, oh, shoot, because you don't think, you think, but you're so used to it.
That's the argument I had with PennDOT, but their response is if any other light that you approach with a left-hand turn on a green light, you pause for oncoming traffic. So that's why they didn't want us to put any signs on the actual signal itself.
Can I ask a question too about the light?
Yeah.
I just was wondering, it works really well when no one is parked in front of the post office, like between, let's say where the bench is or where the weedy tree bed is, up to where the light is. I just wonder what people would think, even if part of that area is starting at the light and working down toward the post office, whether we could yellow out one or two of those parking spots in front of the post office so that people never park there, so you can always get around.
That's something I talked to the chief about when we first turned it on, because I could just see that if someone was parked there and someone was trying to make a left, you wouldn't be able to get by them.
Right.
And it's really not even, it's more kind of in between the two buildings, so you're not really even taking away parking from the building itself. So that's something we can definitely look into. AJ and the guys can definitely paint that area.
Yeah, one, maybe two car lengths worth.
Yeah, just to make enough room to get by if someone's trying to turn.
Yeah, thank you.
I make a comment on the lights. I just noticed too, when I tried coming down Wildwood and parked the lights, and I noticed increase of speed of the cars coming through the lights. So I know they're not slowing down, they're like, I'm like, whoa, he's flying at you. So they see 3 green lights in a row or 2 green lights, they're zooming through rather than slowing down. So that might be something we might want to look into.
Well, I'm going to get with the chief and AJ on that, to put lines in there to do the Vascar coming into town, because you're absolutely right on that.
But I was like, whoa, normally they would never be like that because everybody would have to slow down or stop or whatever, but they're flying through.
And I know if you sit at the stone wall and you watch people trying to make that green light at center, it's really speeding through there. Or whether there's a way to time them for like 20 miles an hour or something. I don't know.
Right now, they're timed that they're all green at the same time to prevent backups. If we start timing them different, you're going to start having a lot larger backups because of it.
Yeah, just a thought. Okay, thanks.
The CDBG 2019 project, the sanitary sewer lining and the Center Avenue road reconstruction, we opened both those bids. The sanitary lining came in lower than anticipated. The Center Avenue reconstruction came in higher than anticipated. But with both of them working out that way, we came in $300 less than what we had allotted to spend already. So it just kind of flip-flopped the money there. I would just look for a motion to award the sanitary lining to the low bidder of In Situ Form Technologies in the amount of $75,675. Of that, $57,737 is the grant. And then the Center Avenue reconstruction is the low bidder of A Felino at $43,620.25, with the low bid, or with 20,000 of that being grant amount.
So
Okay.
when you say, they're saying, like, for this last one, Felino, 43,000,
Correct.
we get 20,
Yes.
we have to pay 23,600.
Yes. So originally on the sanitary sewer, we were looking at an $88,000 project with 31,000 of it being out of our pocket. But now that the project's only 75,000, we're saving money out of our pocket on that project. So it makes up the difference of the Felino number being a little bit higher.
I got you.
Okay, can I have a motion to award the sanitary lining of Parker Street High Union to the low bidder of In Situ Form Tech at $75,675, and also the road construction on Center Avenue near Allegheny River Boulevard to the low bidder of A Felino at $43,620.25.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. McCarthy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Carpenter. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And then, as everyone knows, back in July's meeting, we made a motion to award the contract for the paving of Second Street to Holbein. Due to the repairs of the storm sewer we have to do up there, I have reached out to them to see if they would be willing to hold that contract until next year and do it at that time. They were willing to do so, so that's, since we already have the numbers on the contract and everything, they're gonna hold it till springtime, and then we'll complete that paving once we know the storm sewer's fixed.
Thanks, Matt.
The year 2020 CDBG, the application process is starting up. We don't have our guaranteed money this year, so it's just applying for the grants. I did talk to Jerry and Tom Benecki briefly. I was going to apply to start a comprehensive CCTV and condition rating of the borough's storm sewer system to try to head off any potential repairs like we're facing on Second Street. I haven't had a chance to put cost estimates at it yet. I don't think it will be a borough-wide project just based off of cost, but it might be a 2 or 3 phase project that we can at least get started. Mr. Benecki thought that was a pretty good idea. The other thing I was thinking of, we did apply for the DCD Greenways Trails for the new pavilion at Cribs. CDBG projects also have park projects, so I thought maybe we could just take that exact same grant and try to run it through CDBG, maybe have luck with one of the grants, and try our luck, see if we put it in 2 different funding sources, we have a better chance of possibly getting it that way. And it would be the same amount of money. We were going to provide a 15% match for the Greenways Trails, and the CDBG park grants are 15% as well. So it'd be no different than what we approved for the Greenways Trails. And then I was going to talk to AJ and review some more of the Elkasan sanitary cammering and possibly put in for another sanitary liner project. And no motions needed at this time, it's just the preliminary applications that the county reviews and lets you know if it's a qualified project or not. And then probably either next month or October will be the final submission of those. And then I had sent an email, but I also put some pictures on here. We got the cammering back from the Second Street. The pipe is pretty much in the worst condition it could be, with collapses and failures in the pipe. I've looked in several options. It's not a candidate for lining. It is between 22 and 30 feet deep. So it presents challenges for digging, also cost for digging that deep. So I have talked to some other engineers that have done ran into problems like this in the past. I'm putting together numbers in a plan. We will drop back to Wood Street and pick up at the inlet that's only 8 foot deep there and run a new line from there to the inlet at the bottom of 2nd Street. And the new line will only be 5 to 6 foot deep, which is a lot cheaper digging. And then the old line will just get pumped full of grout. That way it doesn't present any sinkholes in the future or any future collapses like that.
There's no chance of 2nd Street collapsing any more than it is. Like, I mean, like, it's really bad on that side, on the Church Street side, Athletic Street side.
We know where it collapsed. There could be a little more gravel that enters the pipe, but it's going to be confined mostly to the area that it is right now.
My concern that I wanted to ask about was coming up 2nd from like Shannon, where people are driving now. Is that going to erode away more and cause us trouble where we don't even realize the road's eroding away under there and somebody goes down? Or you get a delivery truck coming up there that's heavier, or a fire truck or tow trucks, you know.
It shouldn't. With the hole open the way it is, you can see pretty much the extent of it. That's not saying that more of the wall could possibly slump, but we'll be able to see it because the hole's opened up now.
Somebody's keeping an eye on that?
Yeah, I've been talking to AJ about it, and we're making sure it doesn't extend any further.
So there's no chance that a car can just like fall through it?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question too. However we're going to get this done, would you agree that it's really important to get it done before winter?
Oh, the goal is to have it done as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I would think that freezing and thawing and all of that could cause extra problems.
Yeah, and Craig and I talked, and we basically agreed that it was the emergency basis, so.
We can't have that hole in the winter.
Oh, I know.
As soon as we get some contractors interested in it, and actually I can present them with a detailed scope of work, we'll start getting quotes and moving forward with that.
So when we meet next month, or because of the emergency status, maybe it'll happen before we meet next month? The final...
I don't know if the physical construction will start yet, but I would hope to have...
No, I mean the decision.
I'd hope to have at least 1 or 2 quotes by then, if not more.
Okay. Okay.
And then the pipe on Selden Avenue, I did get more quotes back. The last quote that or the only quote I had at the last meeting was for $80,000. We did get Holbein interested in the project at $51,000. There's an additional 14 because the 51 does the main line. Towards the tail end of that pipe down there, it does get deep in the range of 15 feet. The camera did not go through that at the day we cameraed it due to debris. But while he's there, if he uncovers that section of pipe needs to be done, that's what that 14,000 is for, to get it taken care of while we're in the area. So with that said, we did deem that an emergency, but I suppose we would still motion it, Craig?
Yes.
So I would just ask for a motion to award to the Selden Avenue repair to Holbein Inc. With the base bid of $51,812 with the possible add item of an additional $14,364.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. McCarthy, I'll second. Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And that's all I have unless there's any questions.
Thanks, Matt. Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Madam President. Excuse me, just a few things to report on. You did mention that there was an executive session that was held immediately preceding this evening's council meeting that you wanted me to comment on. The purposes of that executive session was collective bargaining and police issues, and there was some informative discussion with regard to cameras that we continue to solicit from the district attorney's office. And basically, the discussion centered around possible miscommunication as to whose committee it was to solicit those cameras. And the bottom line was, and the take from what I believe from mayor and council, is that there needs to be better communication, not only on that issue, but all issues that come before council. I think that was the takeaway from the session. I received notice from Mark that the sheriff's sale on the Marina Pub was published, and the sale should take place in the September sale unless some intervening factor happens to prevent that.
Do you know when that is, Craig?
I thought it was September 3rd.
Okay.
I think that's what his email said.
I don't know if you noticed, I did read it in the paper, and they have the wrong address for the Marina Pub. They have it as the Union Street address.
Union Street address.
Okay, well, I'll double check on that with Janet Burkhart.
Yikes.
Continue to work on various code enforcement issues with Mark. Working with Matt on the 2nd Street, and Nancy will report additionally on ordinances that we're working on under her report. That's all I have to report.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Dr. Carpenter.
Oh, right, Tom's on here. Okay. There's another potential sheriff's sale, Craig, that I think we discussed at the ordinance meeting about 204 West Railroad. What I wrote in my notes is discuss and present on 8/13 meeting. The people that are living there that should.
So what happened what happened on 204 West Railroad is that the property owner became deceased, and the property went into they weren't paying their water bill, and this board had authorized a sheriff's sale of that property because they'd like to get it back on the tax rolls. And there's an heir who lives down in Georgia, the son of the deceased party, wanted nothing to do with his dad. He didn't raise him. He didn't look at him as his father, and he felt it was too much of a burden to try to be the executor or administrator of the estate, and he bowed out. There's also another daughter that lives over in Africa somewhere who's unreachable. So there's really no heirs to this estate. To get an estate open, and it's a nice house, and we wanted to get it back on the tax rolls, so we authorized a sheriff's sale. I spoke with Janet Burkhart, who does our tax claim sales, sheriff sales, and I thought it was going to be on the September sale list like the other one was, and she told me, whoa, this guy's on a payment plan. I said, this guy's dead. He can't be on a payment plan. Well, apparently there are people that resided with him, and somehow they got themselves on a payment plan for that house. And while that's occurring and while that red tape's there, they can't sheriff sale. So the discussion at the ordinance meeting, I believe, Nancy, was, do we want to go back in with injunctive relief and attempt to kick those people out? Was the nature of the discussion. Because that was originally what we had talked about doing, then we decided to go the other route and try to sheriff sale.
Okay, so that is the issue in question that we wanted to present to council to ask what they thought.
Because basically you have one, if not two, non-heirs that were sort of residing there when the decedent passed away, and now continue to reside there as if it's their own house, but there's no mechanism in place for them to either take it over or to get it back on the tax rolls.
And they're still not paying the bills.
They're paying the water bill.
Yeah, that's just existing.
I mean, that's the thing. If they would have never gone behind to begin with, we may have never even found this issue.
Is there a mortgage or anything on the house?
No, not to my knowledge.
And there's no way to let them buy it.
Somehow somebody would have to get an estate open. And I think you have to wait over a year before somebody can petition that's not an heir, but even that person has to get the heir's renunciations that says, we don't want to be the administrator, let them.
Well, the one guy you can, but the woman in Africa, it's impossible.
Right.
So the State Department.
I don't think that they're in the estate business. I mean, ultimately, it just sits there and it'll waste away, or those guys will keep it on.
No, he's saying to get a hold of the woman in Africa, contact the State Department. They would have
A record.
a record of where she's at.
Well, we can look at that. You want to just hold off for a month?
Either the State Department or, I would try the State Department first.
Okay.
And I don't know whether it would be possible to talk with these people and ask them if they would be interested in purchasing it. And who would do that?
I'd be happy to do whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I'm trying to
But
think.
let me follow up with the State Department.
Yeah.
We'll kick it back to committee for one more month.
All right, thank you. Basically, the only other things that I want to report on is there are several ordinances that we're working on. In particular, it looks like we're going to be revamping the food truck ordinance. Craig and I had a meeting about that. And that's going to be further discussed at the next ordinance meeting, which will be August 26th at 3 o'clock. So there's that. And the war on weeds is continuing with Mark's help. He's working on that. And
Nancy, can I ask you a question?
yeah,
The food truck thing on the boulevard, council approved a trial run,
right,
and there has yet to be a food truck on the boulevard.
I know.
Right.
The trial run's up at the end of the month. Does
And
council need to act on extending this
did we do
trial?
it for 30 days or 60? I thought we did
I
it for
think we did 60, but it was ending August 31st. I
But
believe it
didn't we
was the end
just,
of August.
when did we decide that in July 9th?
Yeah,
Oh, so that would be like September 9th or
so
something.
before the end of the next meeting,
Yeah,
the trial.
So it will
and there hasn't been a
expire
truck.
unless anybody makes a motion to extend it for another 30 or 60 days.
And there hasn't been a truck yet. so-
I think that one of the problems is that he possibly, is finding out is that you have to book these people, in a year in advance.
The other thing he's gonna have a hard time with is that those guys don't like to come out unless there's gonna be enough people there they can make a couple $1,000s. You may have a hard time, there's not a whole lot of traffic there. You know what I mean? It's gonna be tough to find a food truck that wants to park there for 4 hours and risk making nothing. Or a couple $100. That might be a problem he's having too.
The past 2 Saturdays I've gone past, there hardly anybody.
Here, the Inru will get food trucks all the time because their place is big enough. But his place is kind of small. He may be having a hard time getting food trucks to want to park there all day. They need to be able to make a couple $1,000 or it's not worth their time.
okay, so our next meeting is September 9th or 10th or something, 10th. And so could we make that motion on that meeting to extend it if he wants to? In the meantime, I'll talk to him.
I don't think that's a problem. I just wanted to bring it to your
Yeah.
attention that the time
Yeah,
is
that's
expiring.
good, yeah, right. So I'll just see, maybe he's not interested because he does have some of his own food, so, maybe it's not working out. Maybe we have to
Does he have a
revisit
kitchen?
it.
Does he have a kitchen? I mean, you said he has his own food.
Yeah, it's small stuff like nuts and dip and chips and stuff like that. That kind of thing. I don't know. Let me talk to him.
Well, yeah, why don't you let him know that
Yes.
the way we passed it, it's gonna expire at the end of the month.
Right.
Maybe he just hasn't gotten around to getting a truck there.
Okay, so, anyway, I will talk to him about that, and maybe he doesn't care, but if he does, maybe we can extend it, and if not, maybe we need to revisit it in the spring, if we can get a chance to try something in the spring. Otherwise, if anyone has any questions about anything specific, any specific ordinances that they're interested in seeing us work on, you can get in touch with me anytime. Thanks.
Thanks. Mr. McCarthy?
Still working on the camera issue, that's it.
Okay. Mr. Sachovich?
Just work with Mr. Canada to make sure everything's okay on the budget and everything. We'll be starting to work on a budget in the next month or two. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Loalbo?
I know last week, borough guys put down the lines for the pickleball court. I'm not sure if the nets got put up yet.
Two
Does
of
anybody
them.
know? Are they two?
The last time I drove by, I noticed it was 2 out of the 4.
Where are the pickleball courts?
It's on Arch Street along the river, right next to the park. There's the basketball court and then next to the Borough Garage there too.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I know the pickle people are really, the players, they're really excited. The guys that are in charge, they're really happy. They said AJ and the guys were doing a really good job. They knew what they were doing. So AJ really did study on what to do. He did a great job. So I really did thank him to let him know that they're really pleased. And then I'll be in touch with them too, so they can set up times for lessons and things like that before winter comes, and hopefully we'll get some use out of it before.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Last rec board meeting was August 6th, and a few things that we were talking about. One of the things that did come up was about the Still City billboard, and is there a policy with the billboard? With the borough, we get some free advertisement on there, but what exactly does that mean? So I know with the wrestling tournament coming up, I don't know if it was due to some of the advertisement on it from what was brought up, but they were charged a fee to put that up on the billboard. So I know, like we were just talking too about different things with the borough that needs to be put up. Currently, we don't have a policy. Maybe we, can talk with Still City and see what needs to be done, so we know exactly what the borough can put up on the billboard.
So Judy and I were talking about this, and I think it's a good idea if the communication committee gets together with the billboard, Still City billboard.
Okay.
Meet with them, find out what we can do, what we can't do, and then if the communication committee could develop that policy for us, then bring it back to council for us to approve.
Maybe.
Does that work? Does that work?
Yeah, maybe ask if they'd be willing to refund that money if it was a legitimate borough ad.
Yeah.
Well, it was, we all went back and forth, and I had a long discussion with Steel City Billboards.
Okay.
That was a compromise that I felt was reasonable.
Okay.
Their concern is they're donating time to the borough for borough events and borough communication. They felt that it was a little bit of a slippery slope for us to have other organizations advertising on there in our space. It is a borough event, and I explained that, and there's money that comes to the borough. The slippery slope that we want to avoid is that some other organization donates money to the borough and would like to use the borough billboard. The point of that billboard is not borough communication. The point of that billboard is to make Steel City Billboards money. They're selling ad space, so anything that we do and decide to put on there, we have to be sensitive to the fact that they're not getting any money for that. So I think there needs to be some sort of clear communication between Steel City Billboards and council on what they feel is what they're donating that time for, so that we can have that communication and develop a policy so that it's not necessarily just me making a decision and trying to be fair. That there should be a policy that council decides based on what Steel City Billboards is comfortable donating time for.
And that's what would have to go into the policy, so if the three of you could get together and with them and talk it out, and because I think it's important to be sensitive to their needs,
Right,
but also
exactly
our
what we
needs.
can do too.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But they're willing to donate.
Right, exactly.
Well, I have a question. I thought that they just gave us 45 minutes a day automatically to put up whatever we wanted.
No, it's for borough communication. Like, we can't decide that we want to have an ad for Patty Pingpaw's business because she's a member of chamber and we want to have
No,
that time.
I understand.
Because that's something that she should pay for, right?
Right, but what's the difference between what we would want to communicate, like the farmer's market? So that's on there.
That's an
Is that
event
part of our
that's-
45 minutes that they donated to us?
That is an event that is done directly from the borough,
Okay.
People make money, like the farmers.
but it's a borough event that the borough puts
For the
on.
farmers and the food trucks.
It's a borough event that brings people to the borough.
That sells wrestling.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue. It's not me making the decision.
Right.
It's not council's decision what's going up there. You have to understand that 45 minutes was a courtesy donated to the council,
Right,
that they don't have to do. So
but they did, and I thought that we needed a committee within the council to decide what we wanted to use our 45 minutes to do. Now, I get what you're saying about, for instance, a business,
I think that we need
that they should pay if they want to use it.
And that could be part of the communication committee getting together with them and getting their recommendations from it.
I think we need to have an understanding of what Steel City Billboards is okay with donating time for.
Okay.
And then council can make a decision on how.
I didn't realize that they were going to be part of the decision-making of what we put in our 45 minutes.
I
That
think
was
it's
just
reasonable
how
to
I
expect.
I just didn't understand that in the beginning when they said that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll get together and see
Yeah.
what we can do then. The next litter cleanup is scheduled for October 19th, rather. October 19th is the next litter cleanup. We talked about, we went over park maintenance schedules and things like that we had done in the beginning of the year. One of the things that we did not get done was mulching around the playgrounds that really needed to be done this year. So we can maybe look into that into the spring. We'll see what happens with our grant with the pavilion and that kind of thing, see what monies we do have available, but that is necessary, I believe, for the playgrounds for safety. And also have like an inspection done again. We didn't have that done. We wanted to have the playground equipment all inspected to make sure it was safe as well. So I don't know if we can do, if that's something we can do in the fall, if we have that in our budget, or look into it early spring. But those are some of the things that we did discuss that I thought was important.
When you say the mulch, you mean like the fall surface?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, because that really needs redone, Matt. So it's probably too late for this year, but maybe early next year we can look into that.
Yeah.
And our next rec board meeting is September 3rd. Here at the Borough meeting, or Borough Building at 7 PM.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. Provenza.
The newsletter, the ads, pictures, and articles are due on Tuesday, September the 10th. If you have anything that you need to put in, please, if we could have it by September 10th. Also, I attended a couple of meetings which I think would be of interest to you people. I, along with Rhoda, Dawn, Denise Jamelis, Mike Forbeck, and Dave Matlin, we attended the Penn Hills Municipal Building presentation. It was a feasibility study. They're going to try to run a trail coming through Verona, through Penn Hills, Plumboro, and up into Boyce Park. It was very well presented, very well attended, and a lot of the people are very, very much in favor of it. Also,
Just for the record, Jerry and Dave and I were also there.
Thank you.
And Sam, was you, no, you were,
I had a doctor's appointment, couldn't make it.
the three of us were also there.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you, excuse me.
It's all right.
Thank you, though. And then on Wednesday, August the 7th, I, along with Nancy Carpenter, Dawn and Rhoda, Denise, Mike Forbeck, and Dave Matlin, we attended the Penn Hills Library, and that meeting pertained to the Churchill Valley Country Club property. And that's been vacant for 10 years, and they would like to make it a green space. And it was a packed crowd and a lot of people very, very in favor of it. And that's about 3.5 miles, they said, from us. So they said, of course, Verona should maybe have an interest in that also for walking trails or picnics, whatever. So we were there for that also.
Can I add something to that, Sylvia? for a
Yes,
second?
absolutely.
I talked to one of the people at that meeting that happened to be standing next to me and just suggested if they're trying to disseminate information and they're trying to raise money, they have to raise $100,000 by March. And they've already raised $33,000. And so I suggested that they come and set up a table at Community Day. And they said that they were willing to do that. So it's just an information table that hopefully will be here for Community Day on September 14th. I haven't called the guy yet, but I'll do that hopefully in time before that.
Thanks, Nancy, for that addition. Appreciate it. On Saturday, this past Saturday, August 10th, was the large community yard sale. 60-some families, went very, very well, and I do want to say a big thanks to Kathy and Luke Maddox. They did a great job, and they're certainly appreciated for that. It was a lot of work putting it together. And also on that same day, Saturday, August 10th, 23rd Annual Car Cruise, and I want to thank Mayor Dave. Great job, beautiful weather, and certainly the Chamber of Commerce. We had, what was it, about 400 cars there, Dave?
No, it was 150.
150.
There's probably about 400 people to walk through.
People.
Yeah,
Right.
combination of cars and
Was
people.
extremely successful, very well attended, and I thank you, Dave and Chamber. Great job. And I also had the opportunity to meet John Jablonski and his wife, Nikki. And John was able to get into the Borough Building and bring out what was needed for the 50-50 raffle, which I had handled for the Chamber. And I really appreciated him and Nikki. They were very helpful, and I thank them very much. Very, very nice people, and I appreciated their help. And we did very well with the 50-50. $440 was collected, so JD Auto won the 50-50, and he very graciously turned the money over to the Commons Flood Relief Fund, which I thought was very, very generous of him. Very, very nice. And also a reminder, Movies in a Park would be Friday, August the 16th, and it's sponsored by our rec board. And the movie is Incredibles 2, and there will be free popcorn and drinks there. And it starts at dusk. If there's rain, then we'll do it here in the building. And Wednesday the 21st, the Verona Community Days Happy Hour will be at the Inner Groove, and that goes from 6 till 8. A good place to come and meet your friends and just have a nice evening. And of course, on Saturday the 24th is the wrestling at Cribbs Field, and the gates will open at 1, and everybody got a flyer. It's going to be a full day, food, drinks, games, raffles, and I'm sure if you want any more information, we have Vince there and Tim. They'll be glad to talk to you about it. And as Sandy mentioned, the community dinner is on Wednesday, August the 28th at the Methodist Church from 4 to 6. And the Community Day here will be on Saturday, September 14th, and it will be here at Railroad Park from 3 until 7. And I was able to get Allegheny Valley Railroad to bring down the train so that kids will be able to see it, maybe take pictures in front of it. So it'll be a very full, very good day. We hope to have a lot of people there. And the last thing is Monday the 23rd, Allegheny County Sheriff's Department, of course, will be here doing the training program for Block Watch, and you'll want to invite your family, friends, and neighbors. It's a good thing to come to. We're a safe town, and we certainly want to keep it that way. It's important. And lastly, Verona Farmers Market. Don't forget to support it. It's on Thursdays from 2 to 7 here at Railroad Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, special committees, anything from ALM, COG, TCC? Just with the reservation on the paving, I know there are days in August, September, and October, I think on the calendar that I saw were blank. And I was just wondering, how is our funding for these alleys that Mr. Paradise was here months ago and submitted a letter? The alley between Parker and North?
I would like to see what second's gonna cost us before we commit to that.
Okay, very good.
Jerry and I are staying on top of that. Unfortunately, with some of these unaccounted for expenses, our plan was to get Second Street paved and then start looking at maybe an alley program.
Okay.
And with some of these larger repairs popping up, it seems everything's kind of got shifted by a year. We'll definitely keep our eyes on it and see what maybe other grant opportunities there are to get some of that taken care of.
Thank you.
And now that you say that too, I know Diamond Way is always a topic. Oakmont Water is going to be replacing the water line through Diamond Way. So I've just had real preliminary talks with them, but I hope that we can maybe schedule to do something a lot like Spruce Street and work with them to where they pay their fair share and then we can chip in a little bit to just get the whole thing paved then.
Wonderful, that sounds good. Thanks, Matt. Okay, council will now hear comments from the public on public-related items. Please approach the podium, clearly state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
One quick question before we hear from the public. I wanted to know whether we added an additional street crew employee yet?
It's in process. I'll call you about it.
Okay, thank you. Public?
Tim Long, 323 Penn Street. I talked to Lower Valley Ambulance before they left here today, and at the event, they're going to bring the truck up and park it and do a touch a truck. We were actually wondering if the fire department and the police department would also like to do that.
For which event?
For the Battle in the Borough.
Yeah, there'll be an officer up there.
I can't guarantee it, that's the day of our picnic.
All right.
Our picnic got scheduled that day. We do a combined picnic with another fire department, and that got scheduled without anybody realizing it.
All right.
So I can't guarantee we'll be there.
All right, and we talked about the grow earlier. We're good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Vince Letta, 323 Penn Street. I have two things. First thing was a couple meetings ago, there was about 25, 30 people in here up in arms about the shooting on North Avenue. It was brought up by several people that they want to improve relations between the Verona Police Force and the community. And there's been several occasions where I have given that opportunity to do just that, and it kind of seems like it's fallen on deaf ears. I mean, you guys have done some things, but it's like this, and we need this. The community has brought that up. They think that relationships between the police and the community need to improve, and I'm trying to provide that. So I hope it gets taken advantage of. Another thing is back to the billboard. Does Verona Council have any say in what is advertised on that billboard at all? Or is it just simply there for the purpose of Steel City Billboard to make money?
I think that's what we're going to sit down and talk about.
That's why I want to bring it up before this is talked about, because, I mean, in 2 months, is there going to be a 30-foot by 10-foot wide neon advertisement for a strip club in our town? Or do we have a say in preventing that from happening?
No, I don't think we have a say in preventing what they can advertise on
Well, I
their
think
billboard.
it should be looked into, because there are probably some pretty unsavory advertisements that could be bought and put on that billboard if it's only just for money.
The owners of that billboard were born and raised in this town.
Wow.
I don't see them putting a...
There's a lot of people who are born and raised in this town that have sectionated half of this town and put it in the toilet. So
I don't see them advertising a strip club, but...
Okay, I'm just saying, if you guys draw up an ordinance, keep that in mind, please.
I think the purpose of the meeting is to find out the parameters of what the borough can use their 45 minutes for.
Okay, well, could you guys maybe bring that up? Sure. That way, if there's something that the council sees is not fit to be advertised in our town, that we have the right to veto it or tell them that they can't
And
do it on.
that's what they're going to do. And it's not going to be an ordinance, it's going to be a policy.
Okay.
So, and that's why I turned it over to the communication committee. And
I was just giving feedback before it's talked about to maybe bring that up.
in regard to relations with the police, I was reading somewhere, and I have it at home, there was an article in the Progress, or God knows where I was reading it, who knows, but it could have been a Google search, that a community group got together and had pizza for the police, like a picnic type of thing, and where they got to interact with the police and provided food during their time of employment, and so, I mean, it's something...
I've talked to the chief myself and invited them up to come up every Sunday to get free food at the football. In 3 years, they came once. So, I mean, the opportunities are there. And I know that they're busy. Sometimes they might be on calls and all that. But in 3 years, I think they can manage to come more than one time. And it's not just adults up there. People bring their families. People bring their kids. Their kids are playing in the playground while dad's playing football and mom's sunbathing or taking pictures or whatever. So it's a family day, and the police could come up there and visit with the kids while they're watching their dad play football. The opportunity's there, and I've tried to bribe them with free food. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm trying. That's all I can say.
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich, second by Mr. McCarthy. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. And I'm really, really excited about those plastic